Good afternoon. This is Media Center Ukraine Odessa, and we continue for today to discuss the readiness of the points of invincibility in the Odessa region for autumn-winter period. Our speaker is Sergiy Gotko, Director of the Odessa Regional Department for Civil Protection, Defense, and Cooperation with Law Enforcement. Good afternoon for joining us today. Let's start with number. How many points of invincibility are ready in the region? Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to say that we have experience from the last year. And last year, though, we had more than 900 invincibility points, and we decided to leave the same number. So the number will be the same. 812 includes the invincibility points at the State Emergency Service, the main directorate of the National Police, the municipal services, utility services, and the responsible businesses. These are the enterprises, businesses that want to join this initiative, so they need just to apply and add it to the single register. Last year, similar to this year, we have the database for people to find information about the number, addresses, and the Ministry of Digital Transformation has been also involved in the process to include this information to the DIA app. So in electronic form, we can find all the details and even to assess the quality. We can see a responsible person and just to assess the quality according to regulation of the Cabinet of Ministers 1407, we started activities on the 1st of September, and we have already implemented a range of measures with regard to reporting and opening the invincibility points and bringing them as to so-called dormant regime. And if you remember, we have two types of operations: standby operation activities, and we also check the schedules. We also define and update information about responsible persons if there are changes. I can say that as of today, the 21 pilot invincibility points under the umbrella of the State Emergency Service, and others are almost ready to be open. You know that the main criteria for invincibility points is the decrease of the outdoor temperature, because it is still warm in October this year, and also outages. We have not seen outages so far. There is smooth power supply, but I'd like to say that all invincibility points are ready. Only 3–4% of these invincibility points that still missing some equipment, but they are fully ready to opening, and we will fill in the gaps in the nearest future. And it is related to the fact that there were some changes of the equipment, but all 812 invincibility points are ready to be exploited, and we are discussing the possibility to have even reserves. Their locations are the city of Odessa and the Odessa district or rayon, because we know that the big cities suffer the most, and the blocks of flats which are very sensitive to outages. How many invincibility points are there in Odesa? I can say that in Odesa we have around 70% of the general number. Last year we had almost 600 invincibility points. Last year, out of 812, only 600 were actively exploited. An invincibility point can have different capacity. We also take into consideration the information with regard to the number of local residents who can use this invincibility, such invincibility points, and in some cases, perhaps we need to have additional invincibility points to ensure proper capacity. Last week, we had the meeting of the Commission on anthropological catastrophes of the state regional administration to consider several issues, including the invincibility points. I'm not going now to share with you all the protocol decisions that were prepared, but just the main information. The heads of the local military district administrations need to establish commissions encompassing experts who are able to fully assess and certify invincibility points in their area of responsibility, and they should report till the 25th of October as for their 100% readiness. Do you have information about how many Odessa residents used these points last year? Around 80,000 persons last year, including 70,000 in the city of Odessa and in the suburbs of Odessa. Now you understand that there is no big need in invincibility points this year at the moment because of the temperature. What gaps did you identify for the invincibility points, basing on your experience from the last year? We can speak here about the main issues. That was related to boiler rooms, because and so we did not have any generators, but we have information about the boilers, and we can see some dynamic schemes. And I think that they will be ready 100%. Sometimes there were the issues with generators because not all invincibility points had generators with the capacity needed. And we understand that if there are around 200, 300 persons using an invincibility point and the generator is not that powerful, then it will be not enough to cover all these people. And we have taken this information into consideration. We have rearranged generators depending on the needs. There were the questions about the mode of operation. We have also taken this into consideration. And I think that everything will be better streamlined this year, taken into consideration the support of the Ministry of Digital Transformation and locals who will use these invincibility points. Last year, a lot of invincibility points closed at 6 p.m., and there were a lot of complaints about that. Also, they were supposed to work till 10 p.m. Yes, we had some issues related to the schedule of operation of these points. And if they were under the umbrella of some institutions working till 8 or 6 p.m. The invincibility points were closed accordingly, but we took that into consideration, and if it was needed, they continued their operations till the midnight, or they were opened 24 hours per day. But that is the issue of the curfew, and we developed the instructions with the national police for the people, for the police officers to patrol the areas near invincibility points. There were significant complaints about the lack of the internet connection, the Wi-Fi. Also, it was like mandatory for invincibility points. Yes, this is the biggest problem. And last year we started our operations. That was not only the issue of optical fiber, and we found out that Starlinks cannot be used in all cases, and that was because of the technical capacities for the web connection and Wi-Fi. And we have there are only 8 invincibility points. They don't have optical fiber to ensure internet connection. So this year we are going to finalize these activities. So this year all invincibility points will be with the free Wi-Fi. Can you promise that? No, I cannot promise anything because there could be some technical issues. And there's the construction issues or some emergency can also damage or interfere without operations. So I'm not going to promise anything, not to be a responsible person for that. I can only say that the activity started last year, and we have continued till this moment. There were no interruptions during summertime, so we have never stopped since the last year. How many invincibility points have generators? 791. Do you have data for Odesa? I think that there will be 100% for Odesa. And I think that in Odesa all invincibility points have generators. And who is responsible for fuel supply for generators? Those organizations who have these invincibility points on their balances, and there are additional funds involved in the material reserves. And what amount is envisaged in the regional budget to equip these invincibility points? We don't have such allocations because it is covered by local authorities. Because these invincibility points are placed in districts of the region, and those institutions who are responsible for them should allocate money for fuel. Then these are the budgetary issues, the issues related to the budget code. I do understand your question, but everything has been developed properly. There are reserves needed under the umbrella of the State Emergency Service, of the Regional Material Reserve, and also the district military administrations report about the reserves in different districts and communities. And we have the information about the number of generators, how much fuel they need, and we also prepare to ensure smooth independent operations for 10-30 days. In case of emergency, we have experience from the last year. We've learned our lessons, and we do understand how to organize this work properly. And we still have some reserve of generators, because you understand the generators cannot operate in such a mode 24/7, and they can just break down. And that's why, if it is needed, we will be able to substitute generators, especially big generators, and the special equipment can be used to ensure proper maintenance of these refrigerators. So everything is under control, starting from the district regional administrations to the head of the regional administration. We've never stopped our activities in this area. We're in contact with the ministries. Every week we have this specialized meeting to report, to discuss everything. There are checks ongoing from the central level, and we really focus a lot on this issue. When it comes to the region, as far as I understand, that regional administrations, they conclude agreements with the fuel suppliers. Is it so? Everything is organized individually. For us, it is important to get the final result that has enough equipment, enough reserves. For example, if we know that you have around 10 generators and they need 100 liters of fuel per 24 hours, so they need to have 1 ton for 10 days and 3 tons for 30 days. But the prices are different for the fuel. Are you looking for corruption here? I don't want to see any corruption here, but it can be possible. You see that all these processes are organized beforehand. We have procurement procedures. We have tenders that take place for 1.5 2 months. The process started in summer. It is still ongoing. I understand your questions, and someone can say that there is emergency need in fuel, and that can pay any price, and there could be some abuse here. But such situations are impossible because the work started back in summer, and we monitor everything. If someone wants to abuse this, we still have material resources that can be used for generators, and after transparent procurement, they will be able to use their own resources. But I'd like to say that we started preparation beforehand in August or even in July, and everything is taken into consideration. Will these invincibility points be opened during emergencies? Or even if there are no blackouts, people can use them. At the moment, the plan is as following: when temperature decreases, they will be opened. And we just need to identify the schedule for their operation. If there is no emergency, they will work in line with the schedule of the institution. If there is emergency, then we will make changes accordingly. We had with us Sergiy Gotko, the director of the Odesa Regional Department for Civil Protection, Defense and Cooperation with Law Enforcement, and we discussed the preparation of invincibility points, and we'll continue at 2 p.m.